So I did the Razer Blade 14, I did the Razer Blade 16 with the RTX 5070 Ti version here for 2025, and now we're going to complete the lineup with the Razer Blade 18 that I've been using for the past month. So I've been really putting it through its paces, and this one's pretty unique in a lot of ways, as we'll get into in this video. But to save you some time, because I do value your time, my overall thoughts are this is pretty awesome. It's one of the best 18-inch laptops, gaming laptops out there, and 18-inch in general. There are a few things I'd like to see them change in the future versions of this, but my overall takeaway is pretty freaking awesome. And I want to thank Razer for sending this over. I'm not being paid or being sponsored by them, so just keep that in mind. But this is a review unit provided by Razer. They do not get copy approval or any kind of input as to my thoughts on this here today. So without further ado, let's get into this 18-inch beast right now. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is the review of the Razer Blade 18 coming up. Okay, we're going to start off with the build and design. This is a really beautiful anodized aluminum. This is a premium Apple-esque, and that's a compliment, build quality. So no flex or give in the chassis, just super premium. There is no doubt about it. When you pick it up, when you feel it, when you use it, this screams premiumness. And of course, we'll get to later, a premium price tag. But that being said, this thing is pretty awesome. Now, of course, for those wondering, you can open this with, you know what, the one finger test there. It works. No touchscreen on this. Now, let's start off with this display here, and you can see it here. This is a pretty interesting dual mode display, and the reason I'm starting off with this part is because I think this is one of the more interesting features of this otherwise amazing gaming laptop, right? So this is dual mode. What does that mean? Well, there are two modes for this. This is the 4K 240 hertz is what you're seeing here, but you could also put it into a full HD 1920 by 1200 440 hertz. For those that need that extra refresh rate, that will definitely bring that to the table, especially for gaming, those games that will take advantage of such a high refresh rate. My personal preference, keep it in the 4K mode because that's the one I like, the higher resolution for my type of workflow. But for those that want that higher refresh rate, you definitely have it here on this. Now, we'll get into the metrics of the display in a moment, but just wanted to bring that up first. Now, the build and design, like I said, is first rate, and it is a little bit of heft here. So this is pretty heavy. And with the 400 watt power charger that we'll show you, it is definitely something you'll have to lug around. Now, it is a desktop replacement in a lot of sense. So I know a lot of you will go maybe room to room, maybe office to home and so forth. I understand that. But it is portable enough, but it is hefty. So let's get to that weight right now. All right, let's get a measurement of the weight with just the unit alone. 3.147 kilograms, and that is 6 pounds, 15 ounces on the dot. And with the 400 watt power supply and the power cord, 4.4 or 4.394 kilograms, and that is 9 pounds, 10.9 ounces. So that is a pretty big package to take with you on the go. It also is being touted as one of the thinnest, if not the thinnest, of all the gaming laptops here in 2025, as they are touting. So very thin, but not so light, right? But that's pretty par for the course, pretty much par for the course on an 18-inch gaming laptop. You will have heft no matter what, but this is the thinnest out of the bunch. All right, let's check out the port selection. We're going to start off on the right side where you get a full-size SD card reader, and as a content creator, I certainly appreciate that. And then next to that is a Thunderbolt 5 port, USB Type-C, supporting 80 and 120 gigabits per second. Good to see that. And then you get a USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2. And then you get an HDMI 2.1 port for more expansion in terms of monitors and so forth. And then you get a Kensington lock port to round out the right side. All right, moving over to the left side, we get your proprietary power port, a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, which I do appreciate, 2 USB Type-A ports, a USB Type-C Thunderbolt port, and a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack to round out the ports. And I like the fact that those two USB-C ports are split up, one on the left, one on the right, making it more convenient. And I do like the port selection overall on this unit. All right, let's talk keyboard here. And as you can see, this is a keyboard that I actually like now. You know, this is about 36% better key travel over the previous iteration, so they've improved that. They've also improved it on the other versions, the 14 and the 16, and this one as well. So typing out documents, emails, and the like has been very good. It's got a numeric keypad for those number crunchers. A little bit condensed for my liking, especially on an 18-inch, but they wanted to have these grills here, I guess speaker grills. So I understand that. So for those number crunchers and those who want a numpad, it's there. Now, of course, this does have pretty nice RGB backlighting, per key RGB backlighting controlled in the settings, of course, in the Synapse settings and so forth, the Razer Chroma and all that stuff. But it is pretty good, and it is not over the top in terms of lighting like we see on other gaming laptops. So I like this, and it's, again, highly customizable. Now, let's give a listen to how the keyboard sounds. Okay, not bad. We did, let's see, 89% accuracy, 72 words per minute. I haven't used this in about a few days, so I got to get acclimated. So I expect that to go up. But overall, an improved keyboard here from Razer. So pretty good in that regard. Now, let's talk about the touchpad here. Now, this is a pretty spacious touchpad, as you can see. It is not a haptic touchpad or anything like that, but it is good for scrolling and doing all the gestures. Let me go to my website, and you can sort of see everything that I'm doing here. Obviously, this is pretty smooth, very fluid at the 240 hertz. Of course, it's hard to show this on the video because I'm running this at 30 frames per second, but the video. But this is pretty good for scrolling and all the gestures, pinch to zoom. Everything works like you'd expect. So pretty good on the touchpad. No inadvertent clicks or anything. So this is pretty good. They did a good job here. I don't have any problem, and I don't have any issues with this. Now, I don't know if people have had issues with it. I don't know if there's Reddits about that. I haven't even checked. I can go with what I have here, and so far that has been pretty good. Now, it does have a pretty nice webcam. We'll show you in a moment how it looks and how it sounds, but it is an IR camera. That means you can log in with face recognition. There is a physical slider to turn off the camera for more security and privacy. Now, let's give it a look and a listen. So this is the camera on the Razer Blade 18 here for 2025. What do you think about the video quality, and what do you think about the audio? Let me know. Of course, this is an IR camera. That means you can log in with face recognition with Windows Hello. And it has a studio effect. So let's take a look at the background, standard blur, portrait blur. What do you think about it? Let me know. Of course, it also has the auto framing and all that stuff. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. All right, now let's talk audio here. 6-speaker sound system. It has THX audio, and I think it sounds really good. Of course, I do expect it here on a 18-inch gaming laptop. I want to see good speakers because I want the whole immersive experience, and I think for the most part, they pretty much achieve that. But of course, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, let's give it a listen. All right, let's talk performance here, and this is running a pretty good CPU-GPU combination, right? So this is running the Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX. We've seen it in other gaming laptops in this category, very capable single and multi-core performance, as you see from the synthetic benchmarks, the Geekbench 6, and of course the Cinebench 2024. So very capable for doing Microsoft Office, email, web browsing without any hiccups, without any issues. Of course, this is overkill for that. But where you're going to really shine with this is things like creative work in 4K video editing. I ran the Puget Bench DaVinci Resolve benchmark, and as you can see, it certainly held its own, did very well in that regard. So if you want to use this as a video editing machine, this certainly fits the bill. But of course, first and foremost, this is a gaming laptop, right? So having the 5090 here with 175 watts, the 24 gigabytes of video RAM, definitely plays a role in how good this is going to be, and it did very well. As you can see, the frame rates are very good, and of course, it supports DLSS to get extra frame rates on those supported titles. So for a gaming laptop, this is really doing a great job here. Obviously, we expect that with this CPU-GPU combination. Now, as far as thermals are concerned, they're using a triple fan setup here and vapor chamber cooling to help keep this at bay in terms of not overheating. And the surface temperatures remained relatively cool, even under load, as you can see. And the fan noise was not much of an issue as far as I'm concerned. Yes, in the performance and turbo mode, you will hear the fans, but when you're doing everyday tasks, it was really not much of an issue as that is concerned. But you will notice the fans, which is typical for an 18-inch gaming laptop when you are playing heavy titles and so forth. So expect that. So not too surprising there. Now, this has a 99.9 watt-hour battery. So the legal limit to take on an airplane is 100 watts. So just at that legal limit. So how is the battery life? Actually pretty good for considering what this has under the hood, the type of the display this has. It did about 7.5 hours on the video playback, and the 4K we're talking, maybe a little bit more with the full HD mode. And then of course, did about 4.5 hours 4K on the Modern Office test, which is a mixed use test. And then about 5 hours and change when you went to the full HD. So not bad considering what this is packing under the hood. Now for gaming, 1 to 2 hours at most on this. And that's pretty much typical for an 18-inch gaming laptop of this category, this size and so forth. So that is what to expect. So not bad for mixed use. I would say 4 to 5 hours in the full 4K. And then again, about 5, maybe 6 hours, of course, depending on what you're doing. And as I always say, everybody's use case is a little bit different, so your mileage may vary. Now, they do supply with a 400 watt power supply. It does give a little bit of weight, obviously, in the total travel package, but it does supply enough juice to that 5090, excuse me, sorry, the 5090 GPU with that 175 watts of power fed to it. All right, now on the bottom, there is a little window that gives you a peek into the internals. A nice little touch there by Razer. It also has RGB backlighting. I think it gives it a little nice touch. I know we won't, most of the time we won't even be seeing that since it is face down, but it is a nice little touch nonetheless. Now, once inside, you'll notice the triple fans for cooling, the vapor chamber cooling. That worked well in its operation. Obviously, they did a really good job there. We'll talk about that. Now, as far as what's user upgradable, there are 2 SSD slots that are occupied by 2 terabytes each on my review unit. Theoretically, you can go up to 8 terabytes. They support double-sided SSDs as well. And it had very good reads and writes as far as each of those. So I thought they did a good job there. And again, user serviceable, always welcome. 2 SODIMM slots for the RAM. I have 64 gigabytes here. That is user upgradable, always welcome in my book, as you know. And then there is the Wi-Fi Bluetooth combo card. It is Wi-Fi 7 Bluetooth here, and that worked well. It is slotted in, so if you need to change it out, you have that option. Again, more upgradability there as you need it, so I really do like the internals here. Okay, as I mentioned earlier regarding the display, we're looking at a dual mode display. We have the 4K mode on right now, 240 hertz. It gets very bright, nearly 550 nits in standard dynamic range. And I thought it was very good. It is not too glossy. As you can see here, I do have a lot of studio lights, so they did a very good anti-reflection, anti-glare coating on it. So I'm very happy with it. It is a non-touch for those wondering, and it does a good job in terms of coverage of the color gamut. It is also color accurate. So if you're going to do creative work in Lightroom, Photoshop, video editing, Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, this panel does a good job. Now notice there's very minimal screen wobble here, and when you're typing, you hardly notice it. So that is very good. Very good engineering on the hinges as well. Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, this has been excellent. We get 6 speakers that we'll listen to, of course. And those were very good as far as the THX audio, as they're mentioned over here. So that did a pretty good job. So the overall immersive experience watching and listening to videos and watching and so forth, the media has been very good on this. Now, the display to me is really good. Now, would I have liked them to bring back the mini LED option that we used to get on this? Perhaps, but this is IPS, and having the dual mode is certainly very interesting. That is to say the least. So let me know your thoughts on that. Now, as far as gaming is concerned regarding this laptop and the display, the 440 hertz obviously is going to enhance your gaming experience for those type of games that really warrant that. But I like to keep it in the the 4K mode, I should say. I was going to say full HD. No, the 4K mode, 3840 by 2400, 240 hertz. That's the sweet spot for me. And this is really the native resolution. And I think they did a really good job with this display. Mini LED aside, I think they did a great job here. Let me know your thoughts on that. And of course, this is the Razer Synapse. I believe this is version 4.0. And as you can see of the different things you can do with this in terms of customizing it. But of course, this is the part that I always go to the Blade 18 here, the actual unit. It tells you all the pertinent information here. It also gives you performance modes here. Right now, I'm only in the balanced because of the type of the power supply that I'm connected to my dock. But of course, if you connect the included power supply 400 watt one, you can go all the way up to the turbo mode and all that. You can control the fan noise. You can control a lot of things here. So that is good. Now, of course, it has a dual mode and you can go to the 1920 by 1200. That is always interesting. And again, you will have to hit the restart on this in order to enable that. So anytime you switch, you have to do a restart. You control the battery and all that stuff. The sound here, you got a nice equalizer here for music, custom voice, game, and all that. You can go to the lighting here. Obviously, that's controlled here as well. So all the effects and all that stuff is controlled here in this Synapse app. But of course, let me know your thoughts on the Synapse app. Have you used it in the past? And what are your thoughts on it? So far, I think they've made a lot of improvements on it. And again, working pretty well for me. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that, of course, is pricing. But let's be honest, we know Razers are very expensive, and this is no exception. Coming in at $4,500 as configured here today with the 64 gigabytes of RAM, the RTX 5090, and the 4 terabytes of storage. So expect to pay a premium here. There is no doubt about it. It only comes in the black, obviously. It starts at around $2,700, and that gets you the 5070 Ti. So that is the bare minimum one you can get on the 18, and there is a middle ground, which is the 5080. So these are the different prices, and up to $4,500 as configured here today. So not cheap, but of course, as they say in this business, you got to pay to play. Let me know your thoughts on the pricing in the comment section below. Now, one other note about that $4,500 price tag, that actually is reduced in terms of the price. So that was originally $5,200, but they're now taking 13% off. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. $4,500, so big sale, right? Still a lot of money, but a little bit better, right? I'll take whatever I can get at this point in terms of any kind of discount. Now, one other thing, and I'm not going to include it in this video, but I'm going to do a separate video, is they did also, Razer did send a laptop cooler for me to check out, which is pretty interesting. A little pricey in terms of a laptop cooler, but I wanted to see the difference with the cooler and the non-cooler, meaning using it normally, and see how that makes a difference in terms of the performance numbers. And I'll have a separate video on that very soon. But these are some pretty nice laptops overall. I looked at the 14, the 16, and 18, and so far, you know what? I love what I'm seeing so far. So that has been very good. I look forward to what they have in 2026. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Razer Blade 18 here in 2025? Yes, I know this has been out for a while, but I wanted to complete the lineup here. I looked at the Razer Blade 14, the 16 with the 5070 Ti. That's an interesting one. And then, of course, this 18 here. And what are my thoughts? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is an excellent 18-inch gaming laptop that can pull double duty as a great content creation tool here. And if you are a professional looking for 4K video editing and stuff like that, CAD work would even be good on this, I would imagine. I haven't tested it, but probably good. It's a very powerful CPU-GPU combination. Obviously, the Core Ultra 9 275HX paired with that RTX 5090, 175 watts with the 24 gigabytes of GDDR7 video memory. Now, as far as the aesthetics, it's got an excellent build with this anodized aluminum. Of course, you will notice some fingerprints on it, so just keep a cleaning cloth with you. You will be wiping it down. These have been notorious for fingerprints. A little bit better than in the past, but still, you will be wiping it down. Now, as far as weight, yes, it's a little bit to take with you on the road, almost, I think, over 9 pounds all told with that 400-watt power supply, which you'll need for this 5090. They did a really good job overall, but it is a little bit of a package, a hefty package to take on the road. But it is sleek looking. It's not overly bearing here in terms of the RGB lighting. It's got the chroma keys and all that stuff. All that worked well with the individual per key backlighting. I think that worked well. And I think the overall experience here has been very high-end, very premium. Of course, speaking of premium, you will be paying a hefty price tag at about $4,500, all said and done, as configured here today. But let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think about the Razer Blade 18? What do you think about the dual mode display here, going from the full HD to the 4K, going from the 240 hertz to the 440 hertz? Do you like that option? Do you miss the mini LED option that they used to offer here? I am curious to know about that in the comment section below. What are your thoughts? But my overall takeaway is they hit a home run here. This is excellent if you have the money. And again, this is a big caveat. If you have the money, this is a no-brainer in my book. But of course, let me know what you think in the comments section below. Now, one little thing, you know, a lot of people are going to leave in comments. They're going to say, what about the customer support? What about all the negative backlash they got over the years? You know, yeah, you look it up. It's on Reddit and everything. So always buyer beware, no matter what brand, no matter what the situation is, always keep a vigilant eye as to what people are experiencing. Now, I can only give you my particular experience with these devices. I'm not going to make up some problems that I didn't find. I know some other reviewers might have found problems on the Razer Blade 16 and so forth. I didn't find anything here on the 18 or the 16 for that matter. So this has worked well. I played games on this. I did a lot of productivity work on this. And for me, it's the right tool for the job. But of course, everybody's use case is a little bit different. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. So until next time, this is Andrew, and I'll see you in the next video.